So you'll want to learn how to make beats. Maybe you saw one of your friends do it, maybe you saw a video on it, maybe you just listened to a song and thought, I wonder how they do that. Well, I'm going to be here to teach you, and don't worry, I'm not going to tell you you need 5 years of experience and you need to make sure you know everything about music theory in order to make one beat. I'm not going to do that. Making beats isn't really that hard, says the guy who's been doing it since he was like 15. The actual bare bone basics of making a beat are not that hard to learn. And when I say beat, I'm mainly pertaining to the drum section of every song. Because once you have a good drum beat, everything else will kind of follow in the steps. So let's get started. First step into making a beat, listen to a lot of music. No, I'm being actually deadly serious. You need to listen to a lot of music. Thankfully, we live in an era where technology runs everything, so you can kind of listen to music anywhere. And no, I don't mean listening to the exact same playlist you've been listening to since you were 13. I'm not saying you have to do it, but I highly recommend expanding your musical horizons a little bit. Listening to more music gives you more inspirations and gives you more highways to kind of make the music you want to make. If you want to start making just a particular genre, I highly recommend listening to different eras of said genre. If you want a fun little exercise, go to a random year generator, type in the range you want, generate, and then take the first 5 years you get. Then go to Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, wherever you listen to your music at, type in that year, that genre, find a playlist, and just start listening. Start doing some other mundane tasks throughout your day or start focusing on one of your hobbies and listen to that playlist. Don't hit skip, do not rewind, just listen to it all the way through or as much as you want to. I feel like listening to new songs or songs you haven't heard gives you better influence, gives you a different perspective on things, and is very nice to just help you build your musical mind up.
Can I make a beat now?
Whoa, slow down there, Tiger. Before we get to that, we need to help you pick your digital audio workspace. Or DAW. Everyone just calls it a DAW. DAWs are what every modern artist and producer use to get out their musical creativity. And it's not just for music, they're used in movies, TV shows, animations, essentially any big media thing you can think of uses a digital audio workspace at some point in the process. In the music world, there are the big four. They all have their strengths, their weaknesses, and they always come down to personal preference. If you want to use it for one particular thing, maybe one DAW can do it better than the other. It's just about trying them all and seeing what works for you. First up is Pro Tools. Pro Tools is the industry standard. It's used in almost every major studio, and people use it all the time to record vocals and instruments. Now I'm going to hold your hand and say this very calmly. Do not use Pro Tools to produce music. Again, Pro Tools is mainly a recording software. It is used to record music. Actually producing MIDI and drum beats is very, very difficult on there. Trust me, I had to use Pro Tools all the time in college. It's a very buggy program, it crashes a lot, and it's only really used for recording music. Again, it's the industry standard for recording, but if you want to make beats, I highly recommend doing anything else. Next up is its younger sibling, Logic. Logic is really good at making beats, but it's mainly used for kind of orchestration and composing most of the time. Don't get me wrong, I've heard some amazing beats cooked up on Logic, but as time has progressed and things have advanced, there are two other DAWs that kind of beat out Logic when it comes to just making beats. Next up is Ableton. Ableton's start was mainly used for EDM and kind of more electronic type music, but as things have kind of progressed, a lot of hip hop and R&B producers use Logic because it's very simple to use, very easy to use, and very audio friendly. Every time I had to use Ableton for a class in college, it was my favorite class. It was so easy to use, very fun to use, and I would just casually make beats while the professor would just kind of explaining a random thing we had to do in the program. Still listening, but doing my own thing. The fourth of the big four is FL Studio. If you're in the audio production world, you know what FL Studio is. A lot of YouTubers use it, a lot of producers use it. Also, because of the rise of social media, I guarantee some people have already seen at least the layout of FL Studio before. If Pro Tools is kind of the modern standard for recording music, in recent years FL Studio has become the modern standard for making and producing music. Again, it always comes down to personal preference. There's a free version of all these programs. You can download them and try them all if you want, and then find one that works out best for your workflow. Once you pick a DAW, we can get in there and finally start making beats. You need drum sounds. You need some drum sounds. Now, to my knowledge, every single DAW comes with a preset sample pack of sounds. However, if you want a little bit more variety and have a lot more sound selection, I highly investigate in some sample libraries and finding other drum kits that producers use. Go to Reddit. Everything's on Reddit. There's multiple subreddits on Reddit. Now that you have all the sounds that you're going to use, we need to start talking about structure. boom, bam, bop, we are in FL Studio, my DAW of choice, but remember, this lesson applies to every single DAW in some capacity. Since we're starting with just the drums, we have just the 3 essential parts of the structure of the drums. We have the kick, the clap, and the hi-hat. Now I know what you're thinking, Jay, this is super duper simple. Exactly, it's meant to be this simple. You can start almost any song with just these 3 things. Now if we're talking about structure, we need to have a quick chat about halftime and full time. I know, music theory, don't worry, I'll get past this really quick. Most modern songs are in a 4/4 time signature, meaning that every bar is broken up into 4 measures like you see here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Inside of each measure, there's also 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can use these beats in the measure to determine whether you want to do halftime or full time. For example, this is full time. Full time uses every single beat with something. Normally it's kick, snare, slash clap. And this is halftime. See here, instead of going up, down, like in full time, it goes up, down, up, down. It only uses 2 out of the 4 beats to actually make a full measure. And normally you can kind of gauge what you want to do or how a song is kind of structured, kind of just listening to where the claps and the snares are and what downbeats they fall on. And that's the most basic structure. You kind of, if you get this down and you understand this, you can actually start making a whole lot more music than you think. For example, I just want to kind of work in full time with this one. Now this is very straightforward. Isn't bad, but if you want to make more hip hop or R&B, for example, you kind of just want to make sure that the clap slash snares are on the downbeats, but the kick can kind of be wherever it wants to be normally. See how that sounds so much different, but it's still keeping that full-time feel? For mainly hip-hop and R&B, the kick can kind of go wherever it wants to go as long as these downbeats still have the clap and the snare and are giving it some sense of direction to go in. And now that we kind of know where we want to put the kick and the snare for each measure, we can talk about using hi-hats now. Now, hi-hats are very, very straightforward. When I say they're straightforward, I mean they can literally be this straightforward, and that's it. They can just be in a simple 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern for the whole measure, and it can sound good. See? Simple pattern, but it doesn't even sound bad, and it can probably be used in a professional setting. And I guarantee as it was playing, some of y'all started grooving, didn't you? Admit it to yourself. Look in the camera. Look in the imaginary camera in your room. You were grooving, weren't you? See, this is super simple to do, and it took around like what, 3.5 minutes to make. Now I could go deep into sound selection and what sounds work with other sounds, but again, that comes down to personal preference and the genre you're trying to make. I'm not here to tell you how exactly to do it because it comes down to everyone else. Maybe you want to do something completely different. Maybe you like the way this sounds, but you want to like scoot the snares over to different places, or just take some of the kicks out and make something completely, like, extremely different than what I was gonna do entirely. See? You can do something completely different as long as you kind of follow the rule guideline. I hate saying the word rule because in music there are really no rules. My rule is if it sounds cool, it works. That's it. But yeah, this was a great first lesson. I can definitely go into melody and song structure and chords in a different video because that involves actual music theory and will take a super duper long time to explain. So yeah, I'll explain more in another video. If you guys like it, like, comment, subscribe if you want me to make more of these in more of a casual manner instead of being like, you need this kind of equipment and you need everything. I don't want to. You don't need all that stuff. As long as you have a computer and a pair of headphones, you can be a producer. Trust me, that's how I started. That's how everybody started. So I'm just here to help you. I'm here to help you along your journey. So if you like this, like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, and I'll see y'all next time. And if you're washing on the toilet, you better wipe.